Have you ever just stopped and thought about it? The light you're reading by, the phone in your hand, the perfect temperature in your room, it's all powered by this invisible force. But where does it all come from? How does it get to you? Well, let's find out.
All right, welcome back. We are jumping right into the real world of electricity today. This is part 4 of our big 20-part series, an introduction to electricity based on the fantastic guide from Virtualization Options LLC. We're going to connect all that theory to the actual tech that powers our lives.
So, here's our roadmap for today. We're going to start with just how crucial electricity is to our world. Then we'll get into the nitty-gritty of how it's made with generators and how it's stored in batteries. After that, we'll follow it right into your home to talk about circuits and safety. And finally, we'll take a peek at what's next. Okay, let's kick things off with a simple fact. Our world runs on electricity. It's so easy to take for granted, but that quiet hum in the walls isn't just a luxury anymore. It's the absolute foundation of everything we do.
I absolutely love this idea of electricity as a universal energy currency. It just hits the nail on the head, right? Think about it. You can trade it for light, for heat, for sound, for motion, for information. No other kind of energy is that flexible. It's not just running our world, it's making our world possible.
So if electricity is the currency, where's the bank? Where do we get it from? Well, for most of the power grid, the whole journey starts inside an amazing machine, the generator. Now, solar panels work differently, but we'll get to that later. And here's the key thing to get. A generator doesn't create energy out of nothing. It's an energy converter. It takes the energy of motion, something spinning, and transforms it into electrical energy. It all goes back to a discovery by Michael Faraday way back in 1831. The basic idea? If you spin a coil of wire inside a magnetic field, the electrons in that wire start to move, and that, my friends, is an electric current.
Okay, so what actually makes the generator spin? In most of our big power plants, it boils down to one of 3 main forces. You can use the massive force of falling water, like in a hydroelectric dam. You can use heat from burning gas or from a nuclear reaction to create super pressurized steam. Or you can just let the wind do the work, pushing giant turbine blades. See the pattern? Different methods, but the goal's always the same. Just spin that generator.
Now, generators are incredible for powering a whole city, but you're not exactly going to stuff one in your backpack, right? For power on the go, for electricity that you can actually carry with you, we need something completely different. We need the battery. So while a generator turns motion into electricity, a battery is more like a tiny, self-contained power plant that runs on chemistry. It's all about storing energy in chemical bonds and then, whenever we need it, letting those chemicals react to release that energy as a flow of electrons. This is the tech that set us free. And man, the battery has come a long, long way. We started with Volta's simple stack of metal discs more than 200 years ago. Then came the lead-acid battery that's probably still in your car. But the real game changer? That was in 1991 with the lithium-ion battery. That single invention is literally the reason you have a supercomputer in your pocket today.
You know, in the battery world, there are basically 2 teams, single-use and rechargeable. A primary or single-use battery is like a one-way street. The chemical reaction only goes in one direction, and when it's done, it's done. You just toss it. But secondary or rechargeable batteries, their chemical reaction is a two-way street. When you plug your phone in, you're using electricity to force that reaction to run backward, basically refueling it. It's that one little difference that made our entire mobile world a reality.
Okay, so we've made the power and we've stored it. Now let's follow that power right into our homes and take a look at how the circuits inside our walls manage to deliver it safely.
When you get right down to it, there are really only 2 ways to wire things up, in series or in parallel. A series circuit is like a single-lane road. Everything is in one big loop, one after the other. A parallel circuit, though, is more like a highway with lots of different lanes or branches for the current to flow through.
So why should you care about this? Well, I bet you already know the answer. Ever deal with those old, cheap Christmas lights where if one single bulb burns out, the entire string goes dark? That, my friends, is a series circuit. Thank goodness your house is wired in parallel. It means that every single outlet gets the same full voltage, and you can blow a light bulb in the kitchen without the TV in the living room even noticing. It's a simple but brilliant design choice.
Now, we absolutely have to talk about safety, and this is maybe the most important thing you'll hear today. We always see signs that say, "Danger, high voltage." But you know what? It's not really the voltage that's the killer. It's the current, the actual amount of electricity flowing through your body. And it takes a shockingly small amount. Just 1/10 of an amp passing through your heart is enough to be fatal.
Remembering that could save your life.
And you know, all those safety rules you've heard your whole life, they aren't just random. They're based on that exact physics. Keeping appliances away from water, that's because water is a great conductor and gives that deadly current an easy path through you. A frayed cord, that's basically an open invitation for electricity to go somewhere it shouldn't. And downed power lines, well, you should always treat them like they are live and incredibly dangerous. It really all comes down to respecting the power you're using.
All right, let's wrap this up by looking forward. Because everything we've been talking about isn't just about how our world works now. Electricity is at the very center of where we're all going, towards a cleaner and more sustainable future.
So what's the game plan for this electric future? It pretty much boils down to 4 huge plays. First, we're generating huge amounts of power from solar and wind, which are now, believe it or not, the cheapest they've ever been. Second, we have to store that power in giant grid-scale batteries, because the sun doesn't always shine and the wind doesn't always blow. And third, we need to build smarter grids that use data to perfectly balance everything out. This isn't just a minor tweak, it's a complete reboot of our entire energy system. You know, this transition is happening all around us. It's in the cars we drive, the way we heat our homes, the policies we support. It touches every part of our lives. So, the final question I want to leave you with is this. As our world keeps plugging in, what role are you going to play in building that future? Thanks for joining me.